What's up, guys? Welcome back to Browns Talk. This week we got the Jags, which beating them put us to 8-3, so that's good. It was an uglier game than I definitely was expecting, and I'm sure everybody else was. 27-25. I have, of course, predicted it was going to be 34-10. So I was kind of close there on ours, at least, because I said 4 touchdowns and 2 field goals, and we got 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals, and we were robbed of 1 touchdown. So I was pretty close on our score, but I was not close on theirs. And I want to say this is the first game where I think reffing really had a huge hand in doing that. The Raiders game was kind of bad too, but this one was like especially bad reffing, so it feels really good to win when you're getting screwed like that the whole game. And I've got some clips of some stuff that I want to talk about with that, just so I'm not ranting about it blindly, but I'll save that for the end. So if you don't want to deal with that, you don't have to. And you can just hear about how the Browns played and what the actual important stuff we can keep a handle on and do differently and all that instead of worrying about the refs, because you can't really do anything about that. It's going to happen, and sometimes it's going to be in your favor and sometimes it won't. It seems like it's not in our favor a lot, but yeah, we'll talk about that later. We'll start with the offense. Baker had a really good game. Yeah, he missed a throw to Hollywood in the end zone, which, if you watch it, just it's hard to expect he was going to be that open right there. So I kind of understand, like, he might have just panicked and threw it all of a sudden, not really expecting him to be that open, because it didn't look like maybe that was his read on the play to throw it to Hollywood. So I think he was looking at his read and then looked over and just saw how open Hollywood was and just fired it real quick. You got to make a throw when somebody's that wide open in the end zone. You can't put it up that high like that. So that was really bad. Uh, and he threw the bad pass to Kareem Hunt on 4th and 1, which was behind him. And Kareem had a chance on that one at least, but you got to put a better ball there. Once again, that was a situation that should have never happened, and they got screwed by the refs there, and they should have had a first down already and shouldn't have been going for it on that 4th and 1, but we'll talk about that later. But so that would have helped get rid of that one bad pass there. But other than that, dude, I'm working on a highlights video this week already over how well Nick Chubb and Jarvis Landry played this week. It's going to be featuring pretty much all of them, so look out for that. But the throws, he was putting a lot of them to Jarvis. He had one really good one to Hodge on the sidelines. He was dropping absolute dimes, like perfect passes over and over again all day. So to have a couple that are off really isn't the end of the world. He made almost all of them, and some of them were stupid good. The pass from his end zone with the dude in his face to Jarvis with like that perfectly placed ball where he got it right before the defender could get in front of him. It's awesome. That one on the sideline to Hodge was super duper, like, perfectly placed. Couldn't be any better. The touchdown to Jarvis, he had to throw Jarvis open because in Jarvis's route he wasn't open, and he threw it back shoulder where only he could turn on it and get it. It's just right into Hooper. When he throws a touchdown to Hooper, it was a really good game. So I had multiple people I saw on Twitter or whatever complaining about Baker, and he's just not good. Like, you either didn't watch the game or you're just being negative. That's all there is to it, and it's not helping the situation any. You can't come away from that game and think Baker was the problem and he's super bad. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like I said, he missed 1 touchdown. We got screwed out of a touchdown. So, like, does it really... either way, he made more good passes than he made bad ones. So you're just objectively not being honest about the situation, or you didn't watch the whole game if you're going to try and say Baker's just bad. He's like the 5th rated QB right now in the last 6 weeks or something in the entire NFL. His rating yesterday was like 114 or something, I think. You don't get 114 quarterback rating by being just bad and unredeemable. So just chill out with that stuff, dude. Just chill out. Like, we have Baker. We're 8-3 right now. You think we're gonna draft Trevor Lawrence or something next year? Like, we're 8-3. We don't draft a quarterback next year. That's just all there is to it. Unless one falls to like the third round and we just find some amazing random QB out of nowhere somehow that nobody drafts in the first round. We're not gonna get a quarterback. So what is constantly complaining about it gonna do? And if you watch the season, like in yesterday's game, he's not throwing ridiculous balls that are gonna get intercepted and stuff. He's making good throws most of the time. The turnovers are not like they were last year. He's doing way better stepping up in the pocket instead of just running all over the place. When he needs to run all over the place because there is no pocket, he can still do that better than a lot of quarterbacks can. So I just don't think people are really watching that are saying stuff like that. Either you're just watching it live sometimes, or, you're not watching all the games progressively or something. Because if you sit down like I do, I've watched this game twice already because I have to go through and make all the clips for the highlights and stuff. So I've already watched this game twice, and I watched it with the coach's film for some of the highlights, which is, the camera angles where you can see everybody on the screen and stuff, so it's a little bit better. And I'm telling you, as somebody who watches probably more Browns football than most people, he's playing a lot better than he did last year, and he's getting better as the season goes on. There's a reason, out of the bad weather games, even in the bad weather games, he did enough for us to win two of those. We wouldn't have won if he played bad in those two games because they weren't like blowouts. And then the last game before those bad weather games, he had 5 touchdowns and was Offensive Player of the Week. And then in this one, he is a 114 rated quarterback with 250 plus yards and 2 touchdowns and no turnovers, and was let down by bad reffing and hindered, like had multiple plays, like there was a hold on JC Treader that was ridiculous, and then no holding got called on Olivier Vernon the entire game, despite the fact that he was getting double teamed and held a ton. So like, he's doing fine. Just watch the games, and if you're a Browns fan, stop complaining so much. You're 8-3 right now. It's like you just gotta find something to complain about, I guess. Like, cause you're so used to constantly complaining. Like, we were 1-31 when Baker got here. We're 20-20 now, so that's not perfect or anything, but that's a huge improvement. And this season we're 8-3, so like you don't get to 8-3 with just like the worst quarterback ever. He's terrible. Like, just shut up, dude. Just stop. Unless you're gonna point out some film to me that would indicate otherwise, which you're not going to, because I've watched it all. Like, then go watch the film and come back and talk to me, please. I haven't like been that dismissive towards people about it traditionally, but it gets frustrating when he has like a good game and makes so many good passes yesterday. And it's like, while I'm watching it, am I complaining when he misses that touchdown to Hollywood? Obviously, I'm not happy about that. I'm not saying you have to like ignore it. But like, after the game's over and we've won and you're still like making a huge deal about it, and it's 5 minutes after the game, so I know you didn't go back and watch anything. It's just really frustrating, and I don't know why we can't just be happy about being 8-3 and going to play the Titans. Anyway, moving on from Baker, the backfield is ridiculous. Nick Chubb is insane. He's missed 4 games and he's still 6th place in rushing yards with someone else back there taking a bunch of his yards. Like, Kareem Hunt's getting more yards than Derrick Henry's backup. You know what I mean? So he's killing it. 6.3 yards per carry. The rush leader has 4.9. Like, there's a chance he could catch up if he doesn't really have bad games and someone else has a bad game or two, he could catch up. I don't know if he'll catch Derrick Henry because Derrick Henry gets a lot more carries than he does. And, he's a good running back. He's not going to really have a terrible game more than likely. He might have some lower than his average or whatever, but there's a good chance Derrick Henry probably is the rushing leader just because of the situation or whatever, but I still think Nick Chubb's the best running back in the NFL if you just watch how they run. And, you look at the averages per carry and stuff. Against a loaded box, especially, there's nobody better than Nick Chubb with a loaded box. And everybody loads the box against us because you kind of have to with those two back there. So, I don't see a situation where this rushing defense really lets us down. Or the rushing offense really lets us down. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think you pretty much count on that every single game. Over 200 yards on the ground today. I think you can pretty much chalk that up as a normal thing. So that's going to be awesome to have going into December where, you most likely will play at least a bad game weather-wise or two before the season's out with where we're from. So really awesome. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are the best tandem in the league. And there's no arguing that. It's just the way it is. So be happy about that for sure. Jarvis had an awesome game. Been waiting for that all year. I have Jarvis is my buddy got OBJ and I got Jarvis in our fantasy draft, and I've been kind of waiting on that front for him to have a big game, and he did, which was awesome. But then it's weird to see Jarvis not having any like super games like this, for the whole season. So it's awesome that he did his thing this week. 146 yards and a touchdown, I believe. And just monster catches. Baker was putting great balls to him the entire game, and he wasn't dropping any of them. There was a couple, he's fighting for them and just got them all. He just was playing lights out, which was awesome. Harrison Bryant's got to control the ball better. That's 2 fumbles now, and they've both kind of cost us there. I think both of them have been scored on, and that one shouldn't have been scored on because they got a free play that let them keep the ball. They didn't get a penalty taken or a timeout or anything. They just blew a play dead because they had 12 men on the field. And they just didn't throw a flag, and they didn't take their timeout or anything. They just blew it dead for a penalty, and nothing happened. So I feel bad for Harrison Bryant on that front because he got really screwed. They really shouldn't have scored that. Or they should have, gone for the field goal and got that, I guess, but they were trying to fake it. So, I don't know. That was a little bit crazy, but he's got to control the ball better. Donovan Peoples-Jones didn't really do much in the receiving game this week, but as far as him and the punt returns and stuff go, he still scares me back there. He's doing weird stuff. I don't think, and the Jags are a good punting team from what I understand, looking at their stats. And I've watched a few of their games, obviously to prep for the preview of this, but not their whole season. But it does seem like they do have a pretty good special teams. So that's gonna happen, but it just seems like there was one time where it looked like he could have let it go out of the end zone and he fielded it, and we're inside the 5. And then there was another time where he should have fair caught it and he let it go and it rolled down inside the 5 and they got it, and it's just like fair catch it. I get that you want the touchback, but when they're right there, you gotta just catch it, take it at the 15 or whatever, and that's where we're at. So I don't know. Still really sketchy back there. Kadero Hodge and Rashard Higgins both had good, decent games. Obviously, Jarvis was stealing the show, and there's only so much you can do about that. But Kadero Hodge had a couple first downs that were really important. A really good catch on the sideline that I mentioned earlier. Higgins had a really good catch, and then was open for that touchdown where Baker should have hit him for sure. So he would have had a touchdown there, another catch, good 20-something extra yards. So they both played well. The circumstances just were weird there, and you can only do so much when Jarvis is taking over the field like that. So all in all, it was a pretty good effort by the offense, especially when you're getting screwed. So it's awesome that they got close to, being back to where we're getting 30 points a game. I hope they can do that again next week. And without being screwed by the refs on top of playing like that next week, we'll easily get up to 30 points. So hopefully that's the case. As far as the defense goes, the line was not playing super great. I mentioned earlier I think they were kind of getting held and wasn't really helping any. But Miles will be back next week, and that's obviously a huge difference. I really expected them to do better today than they did, because the Eagles line should be better than the Jags line from what I've watched. And it's just weird. There was a lot of times they got close, but Glennon was doing a good job of just getting the ball out. He had pressure in his face a decent amount, though. So it's just one of those games. It kind of happens like that. Even Miles has games like that. You just can't quite get there. Like, it's going to happen. OV got screwed on that roughing the passer, so we should have had a sack there. I mean, obviously he was doing what he could. He was stood up and everything to try and get his head back, and sometimes there's just going to be incidental contact. It's like the one against Patrick Mahomes. Dude has his arm up to try and block a pass, and he barely taps Mahomes on the helmet. I mean, I get that that's the rule, so I'm less worried about that penalty being called than the other reffing problems there were this game. But it is, like, with everything else that was going on, it's annoying that they call, a one that's even, like, questionable like that. So hopefully he learns from that and tries to get his head to the side more or something next time it happens, whatever. Linebackers did good in coverage this week. Goodson has been doing better progressively through the season, so that's good to see that that's continuing. Mac Wilson had a really good pass breakup. He kind of got beat for one, and he just perfectly kept himself right at, just in it enough to dive and break up a pass on the sideline that was really important. The tackles in the run game needed to be better. James Robinson, is having a good year, so he's not bad for sure, but there was some missed tackles that are really questionable there that you don't want to see continue happening. And I think that's, our linebackers aren't super good rated in PFF and stuff like that. Running tackles is a lot of the problem there. So really just need better tackle in there. Taki's actually a pretty good tackler a lot of the time, so that kind of hurt not having him. But he also might get burnt in some of the places where Mack or Goodson or Smith won't get burnt sometimes by biting on stuff. So who knows? Secondary, Sandejo actually had a pretty good game this week, which I even said I was hoping he was going to play because we don't want to have a bunch of people that have not been playing this year at all, really, back there. And Sheldrick was going to be out. But then, he had a pretty good game. He basically got an interception there at the end to seal the game. He had a couple pass breakups and stuff that were good. Had some tackles. I think he got a tackle for loss at one point. I could be wrong. I think so. So he had a pretty good game. Mitch had the one pass interference call, which, you can call that whatever, but it doesn't really make sense in the context of the game. And I don't know. Just try not to get burnt where you're in that position next time. Tavier Thomas wasn't great. Wasn't expecting him to be. Never really is. It hurts not having Ronnie Harrison, so we really got to hope he's not severely injured and he'll be back soon, because if we're missing Denzel and Ronnie Harrison, that's not going to work against the Titans. It might have worked against the Jags today, but that's not going to work against the Titans. Even having Miles back will help a lot, because they did clear him, he's on track to be cleared for Wednesday, so he should play this week. And you're relying less on your secondary when you have Miles, obviously, but you still, I don't feel comfortable having MJ Stewart and Tavier Thomas out there all day with, Carl Joseph and not Ronnie Harrison as well. So, and Kevin Johnson got hurt at one point during this game. I don't remember hearing what Coach said about him today, but Yeah, it's just we don't. We really need something to happen there. Denzel or Ronnie's gonna need to come back. Okay, so I've just got a couple minutes of stuff here. I don't want to harp on it all day, but this is the one against Terrence Mitchell, the pass interference. This little grab right here. Yep, I don't think that's legal, but look at how uncatchable that ball is. So if you want to call this one, go ahead and call it. But then to see what they're not going to call doesn't make any sense. So that was the really confusing part. If they're going to call it that aggressive, how do they do this? Jarvis at the bottom here, he's going to go in motion to the top and then go back along the outside of the end zone. And this number 37, I think, right here, yep, pushes him. Just boom, all the way out of bounds. Still almost catches it one-handed. But, like, way before the pass is there, completely shoving him, hands on his chest, not going for the ball at all. Just, I mean, how is that not pass interference? But the one against Mitch is that completely baffling and confusing that they would have both of those going on. So this one, Kareem Hunt's not down here. They call him down right there. Gets forward. Ball is over that line when he goes down. Clearly, it's at the 0, the left side of the 0 on the 20 right here. This view, still going. Ball's down. He's past it. You can see the ball between Teller's left arm. Unnecessary roughness by 42, not called right there, by the way. Just.
I agree with you, Spear. I think you're exactly right. Kareem Hunt does a great job keeping his knees off the ground as he spins out of the first tackle. And then the lunge, and that's what I was looking at. It appears to me the first thing to touch is Kareem Hunt's right forearm, which would put...
So that makes no sense. Now they spot it here, which we already saw this is not the right spot. But the challenge was that Kareem Hunt wasn't down by contact back there. So they're going to measure this. It's short. They're going to take our challenge and our timeout away right here and call it a fail. Even though the ball moved forward, so it wasn't a failed challenge, they're going to take it away.
The ball is still short of the line to gain. Cleveland is charged. It's second timeout, and it's out of challenges for the remainder of the game.
So just for some context, after we lost that timeout and challenge, there was the 3rd and 1 pass to Kareem that he throws behind him, and then we run it, and it's super duper close, and it looks like a bad spot, but we don't have a challenge anymore because they just took it away. Then they give Jacksonville back the ball. Then he's going to come out now and say that they messed up, and they're going to give us the challenge and the timeout back, but they won't let us use it for the play that they just screwed us on the challenge on. So we lost it for one play. And it was one play that we needed to challenge it. And you'll see after he says this, the camera goes to Kevin Stefanski, and you can see him go, F. He cusses because he's like, well, I just got screwed then because I needed that challenge a second ago. He tried to challenge it, and they wouldn't let him. So none of that makes any sense. This is all a complete mess. The hold on J.C. Treader was a bum call. That lost us a big play from Nick Chubb. So there was just a lot of weird stuff that went on, and I just kind of wanted to go over some of that. Here, you'll hear him say that, and then you'll hear my reaction to what I think about the refs this game.
Or Cleveland gets his timeout back and his challenge.
Here's Stefanski.
Yeah, we missed the front end of that.
Yeah. In case you couldn't hear it.
We missed the front end of that.
Tell him, Baker. Now that I got my little spiel about the refs out of the way, overall offense played really well. Kind of had things going against them and still held up. Put enough points up to win. And Baker made some really good throws. Receivers had a good day. Obviously, the running game is just super badass, so still not worried about the offense at all. Defense was super questionable against the Titans, especially if we don't have Denzel Ward back. Having him or Ronnie, either one of them back, is going to make a huge difference. And we really got to hope Kevin Johnson's not hurt either, because we'll just be so depleted that the Titans are not the Jaguars, and we're not going to get away. Even with the refs playing normal and, not handing the other team touchdowns, still we're not going to get away with anything like that against the Titans. So let's just hope some of those guys come back this week. I'll be working on the highlight video for Jarvis and Nick Chubb mostly, and some other stuff, but this game, and I've got all that clipped out and stuff, so I just got to put it all together and put music on and all that. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to work too much on it today, because after I get done working on this one, I'll have to go to bed early because we got snow here, and I do snow removal, so I got to get up in the middle of the night and go out at 2 in the morning. So I'll see how this week goes work-wise and what the schedule ends up being with. This is kind of the crazy part of the year for me. Sometimes I won't work a ton, and then sometimes we'll be working all hours of the night, weird schedules. It's, just dependent on Mother Nature. So I'll get it done as soon as I can. It might be a few days. It might be, we go out tonight and then we're off tomorrow, and I've got a day to work on it and I can finish it tomorrow. Who knows? So I'll get done as soon as I can. There will be a preview game for the Titans. I released it on Sunday morning this week. I meant to release it on Saturday morning, and I just had stuff come up. But I kind of liked the Sunday morning, so I'm not sure. But it'll be later in the week. I'll have a preview video for the Titans game up. I'll watch some film between now and then on the Titans, and really try and get a good feel before I do that, like I usually do. And I'll let you guys know when that stuff comes out. Just keep an eye out for it. And thanks for watching, everybody. Go Browns!